The hip-hop writer is a creator, composing understanding words of cultured brilliance, powering a rebalance of the elements equally. Pages, a rejuvenated reaffirmation, simply the almighty leadership of insightful craftwork that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly and uses his ears to filter the real. And as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing it in the print. Today's journalist and tomorrow's historian, he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt executed again and again and again. This is the Power Right Show on S.STREET Media. This is your brother, the long low life with the home song garment, the Boricua with the build, the true and living God stepping in score, Sweeney is a lot, aka Skiller Straight Low. And we're on S.STREET Media, the evolution of media, where every intrigue will have its own show, every incredible thought will have its own episode, and every timeless insight will be archived. And as I always say, this show is about my element of hip-hop, what I like to call the writer of art and science on music, the only show in history on this hip-hop writer element that I, a veteran of over a quarter century, helped to pioneer. And, wow, okay. So, with all that being said, don't forget I got books out. I have the Reel of 2020 ebook, a very simple styled book, but it ends up being something new too. A 70-page analysis of the best musicians and artists in hip-hop today, bracketed in a revolutionary new system of ciphers that categorize the entire musical universe. In other words, I'm not giving you my favorites. I'm giving you what I think is the best of everything. So I'm giving you the whole universe of the whole field. And I categorize it in overlapping categories. So you kind of could pick what you like, how you like it, and you make decisions of what you think you'd like to hear, you know, instead of just hearing likes and dislikes of individuals, you know what I mean? We get that enough, you know what I mean? And we usually get the people getting paid off for that, you know? And of course, the book that set it off all, the filtered real essays from the Invisible Renaissance. I call this era the Invisible Renaissance since 2010. And this is a collection of essays that really detail and begin to detail all the greats of this era, you know what I mean? And our guest certainly today is one of those essential MCs that spawned from this era, you know what I mean? That personifies it best. Some quick commentaries, thoughts, shouts, whatever the fuck you want to call them. I don't know what category to call this shit. Be sure to tune in to my other work, DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio. We got episode 294. P. General of Bankai Fam and Cool Taj the Great. Interviewed both of them. Some really great boom bap albums, some real fun albums. And we got a lot of ideas about them. They're great albums. If you listen to them, you're going to enjoy them. They're both on Bandcamp, so look them up there after you listen to the interviews. Don't forget the last show we had, episode 96 with Planet Asia. We had a long build. We went metaphysical. We was all over the fucking place with that one. You know what I mean? And tomorrow is the release of Billion Man Rebellion's new album, Ghost Lineage. And I usually don't promote shit, but I end up being forced to. Because my man Constant Flow and Don Teague, not only being great MCs, and I heard the album and it sounds great, I introduced the album. I'm on it. So, you know, so I get to talk a little shit, you know what I mean? Not on the level, nowhere near the level of my guest though, but I think I sound okay. on it. You know what I mean? I didn't stumble or anything like that. Yeah, so some of it rhymes and stuff like that. You know the way I write, so, you know. Yeah, you know, I just say whatever, you know what I mean? I think they come out, I like to say it comes out as stanzas, you know what I mean? You know, I don't really, even when people ask me to write, like, they give me 8 bars or, like, stuff like that, it never comes out that way, you know what I mean? But check that out. It's a great album. Go to Billion Man Rebellion on Bandcamp and enjoy that. Stream it, you know what I mean? But my guest today is part of the reasons why I call this era the Invisible Renaissance. You know what I mean? I tell this story all the time, but now it's one of the people that were one of the reasons that I could tell this story, because he was actually there when I spawned this.
I remember you first coining that phrase.
Yeah.
And I remember it making sense to me too.
Yeah. And it was at Spit Gems Fuck the Radio release party, and I was talking to Napoleon the Legend. And I didn't say it to Napoleon though, but he was asking me what do I want to do now in hip hop, And I was like, it was just writing. I wasn't doing Toshi. I wasn't doing radio again. And so I was just like, man, I just want to just have the chance now that I could write without being edited and clipped up. I just want to prove I'm the best writer ever in hip hop. You know, creative writer, journalism, everything. You know, that element that I always been trying to establish. And I think I did that. But Napoleon told me what he wanted to do. You know, he still hadn't like just quit everything and done rap just solely. Then I was watching, you know, everybody was having fun, Spit Gems here, FU's there. You know, you're climbing in. I think that time you had a little bit of a throat.
That was the time I had no voice, I think, the first time. Yeah.
And then Nems was in there. See, Constant Flow was actually there too, because Gems called
doing
him up
shows with no voice is not cool.
No.
It's not.
That show, I think, remember too.
Everybody around would act like it was cool too. Like, oh, this is so cool. No, it's not. No.
Yeah, you somehow made it work. And what's his name? AG the Coroner was there, and he did his New York joint, which to me was an anthem back. You know, like that was a real anthem. So I just kind of coined it because I was like, it's a renaissance, and I just had heard Kaz album, and I just was listening. Then I was thinking about Rock Marciano because they're linked, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of great stuff. But I was like, nobody's gonna know about it, so I guess I'm the only one seeing it. So I was like, I guess it's invisible. So I started calling it that. But the MC that we have here today is literally, definitely in the categories, when I was talking about categories, and definitely MC's MC. You know what I mean? If you don't rhyme it, if you want to know what rhyming is, flow, tempo, cadence, you know, he's the prototypical MC, you know, like you rotate him, you know, on a podium and all the skills and techniques are there and stuff like that. That's the guest that I have here.
If you say so, it must be true.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it is because I spend time working to prove this shit.
I appreciate it. I mean, like you always gonna criticize yourself, you know. If you're gonna grow as an artist, if you already think if you think you can't be, you know. The music doesn't grow in that instance.
No, I definitely see that. But my guest here is Starvin B. You know what I mean? Starvin B. There's no filler in your catalog. You know what I mean? Things that I thought were nearly impossible. When people compare decades and they go, the '90s was like the best recorded era. We could probably argue that. You know, it's well worth the argument. I think so. But when you look at the catalog of all these legends and greats, they got duds. You know what I mean? No, it's no offense. You know, even legends have weak albums. Do you know what I mean? Of course.
I mean, when you do something for so long, it's just like fighting. You're gonna lose a fight if you fight a million times. You know?
Right. But you know, as of now, it's no Starvin B. You don't have a dud. You know what I mean? There's nothing you go. I skipped that one. I leave that off the collection.
I can't afford to have a dud. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't afford, because as you say, like I don't have a dud. I don't have a hit either. You know what I'm saying? So it's I can't afford to slack it and risk, you know, not having the opportunity at having a hit. I always have to push the boundary of what I'm doing and try things I haven't done before. And things that I enjoy doing. I know that anything that I do that I'm not enjoying is gonna, you know, it's gonna translate that way. If you don't enjoy doing it, that's why you see a lot of duds. You might hear legends or whatever you want to categorize the MC or the artist. They do duds because they're probably doing something they don't enjoy. You know, they might be rapping with somebody just for a look. They might be, you know, trying to cater to a sound. And, you know, they might be rapping about lean when they don't drink lean. Like,
you know what's interesting? Does it correlate to you, this, though? It reminds me of what Planet Asia just told me last week. And I always tell him that he kind of he's always agreed with me that he kind of shoots off after the Muggs album he did. You know, like he just goes into another stratosphere. And he said that he wasn't really rhyming the way he wanted to, like, you know, until then. And it's, you know, we liked all the records before, you know what I mean? So it's possible to make okay music.
You could be technically, you could be technically dope. And if you're an artist like Planet Asia, he's been around so long, and you know, he's soaked up enough greatness that technically he's not gonna miss. You know, it's not gonna miss. So like, if you're a fan of that sound, the old sound, or whatever you want to call it, golden era, you're gonna like these records. But like, you know, a lot of artists don't enjoy doing them forever, you know, like they want to grow, they want to do something different.
Want to try something else.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. You know, and for the listeners, you know, like if you dig in the crates, whether it's premierhiphop.com, whether it's in my books, and whether it's all the shows that we've done, I gotta say, I looked at it, it's about 4 or 5 times, maybe 6. Starvin, you're probably the artist in my whole career that I've interviewed the most.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't feel like we've had that many though.
Yeah,
like what, 4?
yeah, about 4 or 5. Yeah.
Well, you were probably one of the first people to really interview me and give me a proper piece, as opposed to just interview me and then throw up a video of mine and then have 3 sentences in it. You know what I'm saying? You interviewed me that first time. You came back with like 3 pages.
Right.
I was like, oh,
it was a Goblin Barbershop.
This is different.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I bring that up because I wanted to take it from some ideas from back there, and then I wanted to then go into detail about the albums you've released since we last built, which was really Digital Jungle. That was the last time we built for Toshi's Classic Stone Radio, back in 2017. I remember it was a dual show and with Subtext. Remember? Subtext was there.
Yes.
Piece of Subtext, you know what I mean? You got the seed and everything, his new baby and everything. So, yeah, you know, I was thinking about the, you know, Goblin and stuff, and I know that you're not making records with Goblin, and it also correlates.
Goblin don't make records. They don't make records.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of like isn't in existence, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of now it's an artifact, you know what I mean? Like it's now a famous dive, you know what I mean? A famous place where all these great records, including yours, came. And when you look back on that era, though, what was the most important thing you think you got out of that?
The most important thing I got out of that was make sure that I listen to myself. Make sure that I listen to myself as far as what direction my music's going in, and don't let anybody around slow it down. That's what I got out of it.
When you say listen to yourself, what do you mean? Like going back to your records and
there's
seeing...
people out there that have been around more than me as far as experience. And you would tend to trust their their input and their direction as far as like when you drop a record, make sure that you got all the boxes checked with how you're gonna promote it. Make sure you're promoting it with noteworthy people, and make sure there's features. Now I feel like none of that really matters. You just gotta make good records. You as long as you're consistent and you're investing in yourself. You could just, your story is going to be your story. There's no journey. You don't shut yourself off just because you're not on, a playlist or whatever have you. Right. You're not getting the coverage you want to get. You didn't get to debut your video at Complex Magazine. So what does that mean? You don't drop the video at all? Like, that's the type of mentality some people around me were on. And, you could see they didn't do anything with it. So I'd rather be doing what I'm doing.
That's a good point. In all the years that I've known you, it's interesting that your philosophies have always gotten more minimalist.
Right? Well, you give a lot. You give a lot. You give what you get, man. You give what you get.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this. I'm totally enjoying what I do with music. I've never stopped enjoying it. I've never stopped getting money. I would have less money. I would probably go months without the lights being on without rap. So rap is good. Rap does good things for me. Yes.
And it's so interesting because your mentality is exactly how people expect the music to be made, minimalist. But it's always like, I always hear some other philosophical note. And I mention that it resonates because then in my own life, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I don't need that. Because as writers, we try to write this. Does it need every chapter? Does it need to cover everything? And that doesn't pair. Like a lot of works I've put out, I was like, man, maybe I don't need to have every single fucking chapter.
Yeah, well, creatively,
you
just have to be moved by what you do.
Right.
If you're not moved by it, and of course, you should play records for other people and get out of your own head and involve other people in what you're doing. Yes, right. But as far as like looks and standards of like what the industry is and what people think, creates a successful formula. hanging yourself up on that is just like that defeats the whole purpose of hip hop. That's not like I said, that's not graffiti.
Right.
You know, that's not. You're not going out there and getting wrecked because you want to see your name on a wall. You're going out there and you say, oh, right on this building because this is the building with the most eyes on it. Now you just an advertiser. You know what I'm saying? You just want to advertise yourself. That's gonna hurt the way you bombing too. You know, so yeah, it's something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and that minimalist approach, you know what I mean? Because one thing that, you know, you had always stressed was like, listen, I'm not letting other people stop me. I'm not letting anything stop the flow of it.
Yeah, and I did for quite a while. I did, like, you know, that's where the slowdown really happened. You know, like also trying to switch studios and trying to get a flow with a different group, and also just focusing on money and life as opposed to just music.
Sure.
You know, because in 2012, 2013, like, I was like, yo, you know what? I spent 10 years working any kind of job that I would get, and then I was like, you know what? That didn't even work out for me where I, like, financially, I'm not even where I want to be. So I just said, you know, kind of fuck it. I'm just going to live off the land and do what I got to do to get a little money in my pocket. But most off, I'll be in the basement writing rhymes and just writing until I find my way out of this. And about 2 or 3 years of that, I wound up touring by myself. You know, like the Europe tour that I had in 2015, like that came to me from that. So if I did that in a matter of 3 years, I could have kept going. But I saw how much money I had. I saw my age too. I'm just like, you know, I started thinking in those boxes and thinking on other people's terms. So that kind of slowed me down. I went back to, you know, doing non-conventional ways of getting money and also driving an Uber, you know, just trying to keep myself busy and earning money. That kind of slowed down the music. So from, you know, 2016 to 2018, that's what I was doing with most of my time. So, you know, like after that, after the results of seeing that I could still do some music within that time span, I just started pressing, you know, the gas on music again. Yeah, because it's like these ways that we lock ourselves into, like of what people think we should be doing with our lives and people around us. That's the real sacrifice of the artist, because you have to say to yourself, yo, you know what? It doesn't really matter. If you're gonna hate me, then hate me. You know, get me the hell out your life. You know, but I got to do this for me. This is how it is. I've been blessed that I got people in my life that just have loved me throughout the course of it. You know, my family, I haven't been disowned yet. You know, by my family. You know, like I don't be trying to, you know, leech off them or anything, like, you know, get support from them. I'm a grown adult, I support myself. But you know, it's just frustrating to see people around you like this. You know, you once in a while get the conversation. You could have been a doctor, could have been a lawyer type thing.
Right.
I wasn't. So, you know, you stuck with Starvin B.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And those words definitely resonate. You know what I'm saying?
I'm lucky though. I'm lucky to have the people that, you know, that I was brought into this world by, and my girl too. Like, they've been standing by me and, you know, just riding it out. They love what I do. They know I love it. And, you know, that makes life better too. That they respect what I do. It's not like the average conversation. If you hear your daughter comes home and she's dating a rapper, what do you think? Like, it's a nightmare. You know, it's an average nightmare. Not because of, you know, the occupational hazards or whatever, how much money the average starving artist brings in. No, just because this guy could be a bad rapper. Like, you could really be in that. You could be in the studio once a week doing doodle. You know, and that's who your daughter has chosen. You know, like, that's terrible.
That's a fact, though. That's a fact. Yeah, it's a fact. I'll tell you something though. You know, I talk when I name my book The Filtered Real, and I use that term and stuff. People don't really get have an idea of how much bad music I encounter daily. You know
I think they do.
How much music that is given to me.
No, they do. They know.
Horrendous. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they know. They know. Everyone. Yeah. You know what? It's like, it's crazy, man. It's just like. It's like that saying, like, you think your shit don't stink, or like your shit smells like roses. No one thinks it's them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, you know, oh yeah, there's so many bad rappers out here. And it's like, I've heard so many bad rappers say that.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I'd say it this way, and I throw this out at you, just these ideas that I've had, you know what I mean? Because a lot of my whole work kind of breaches, you know? I cover things, but I also make my own art, you know what I mean? So then people ask me to record songs, and I've tried to record my own songs. I've done some and stuff, right? And I only started to do it not because I thought I was good, because I've analyzed so many artists that I'm like, I know exactly every single flaw I'm doing before I'm even doing it. Or I feel it
also
that way.
you speak about it technically, so once you understand it on that level, you could try to imitate it. And,
right. And I don't want to do that. So if I start feeling myself imitating, then it's no good too. So right?
Everyone imitates though.
True.
You know,
true.
like how's the first rap get written by anybody? They kind of imitating something. They, you know,
right.
at least for me it was.
Right, there's some kind of palette, right? Yeah. You know? But I think this, like, in the time that I've been recording songs and doing songs with other people, what I've started to see is more of a first-hand experience of what it's like to actually try to make a song, the difficulties of it. You know what I mean? It's resonated differently. It's changed the way I look at things, even after all these years of covering it. You know what I mean? But I wanted to switch up to a different question, because I've been talking to artists more and more. This year I've interviewed a lot of people, more than in quite some time. And I always tend to see changes at the beginning of a decade. You know what I mean? And I think one of the changes, even though I wouldn't name the era that, but I think it's affecting, I said it was an invisible renaissance. It's like a whole mass amount of great music led by individuals who I consider like yourself. But I think in this era, because there are so many people with works out there, I think there is already an industrialization of this underground that we're talking about. You know
that's
you
been
know what I
happening
mean?
for a while.
And I think that's been happening, for a few years. It hasn't happened like 2020, but we kind of saw it in 2020, the way like there was a mass production of things, you know what I mean? Like there's a real conveyor belt for music now.
Well, I've noticed that there's a group of, there's several different little groups of like faceless people on the internet. They don't have a face. They're usually from somewhere in Europe, and they'll take a term, and they'll take some money that they could press up vinyls, and they'll give out these deals to the artists that they think are interesting to work with, and that's happened to me. I've worked with a couple labels like that, and I see there's other people that are like copying their business, their business model. Like, all right, so and sometimes choosing like very obscure artists who don't know that situation of having a vinyl or whatever, and they're just happy to have a record out or whatever. So you're seeing that like like if that's what you mean by the industrializing, like, a lot of charging like $50 for a vinyl or for a record from a rapper you never heard before.
Right, because I think about it, and when I first started to cover you were the model of consistency. Like, wow, that was a lot of albums, like one every year or one.
Oh, no, it was more than one a year
like,
at that point.
But like even two a year. But then now people are releasing like 7, 8.
There's no harm done in that, as long as the music is good and you got the audience. It's what people want. People don't have the attention span, that they did. I mean, but we would have liked to see a Wu-Tang album 4 times a year if we could. And they could have did that. They could have did that
with the amount of guys that they had.
Yeah, they could have did that. So I would have liked that. I would have enjoyed that. It's just people that, I don't know whose idea it is that tells you how many albums you have to put out in a year. And sometimes you'll see artists, I remember Pun, I think one year he had like 25 features or something like that.
I think that was
he was rapping about it too. He rapped about it. I had 25 features, something like that. Yo, if you're an artist that's in demand like that and you have the quality and it's not getting watered down and you don't get on some churning it out just because.
Right. Yeah, because I see positive and I see negative, right? And one of the positives I see is that the people with the most records out, a lot of them are, the bulk of them, the majority of them are actually really talented. Like,
yes.
It really works out.
I think you have to be.
Yeah.
To make records at that rate and not feel like crap about yourself.
Yeah, because like Ras Fresco did it, and I like all those albums, a whole bunch of people. S.STREET is throwing out things all the time, and none of his shit slacks, and it's always different, it's always weird, it's always fun to listen to, you know what I mean? But I just throwing those things out there, you know what I mean? But let's get into these records that I missed out on, The first one was Night of the Never Dead, right?
Okay.
With Stu Bangers and stuff like that, you know? And I don't want to start with Stu Bangers. I want to rewind because I've been asking people, everybody, because he doesn't get enough credit. And
I think Stu Bangers is doing a great job.
oh,
right
yeah,
now.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think he gets, I mean, I don't know about enough credit. Like, what is enough credit?
No, that's not. I want to talk about Stu Bangers, but before Stu Bangers, I want to talk about Ches Rocker.
Ches Rocker,
because he doesn't get enough credit. And it's like every record that he is part of is always good.
Yeah.
It's never whack.
Ches is my man. Ches is on his mission in life is music, you know? And I think he wants to be first acknowledged as an artist. I know that. And, you know, like that's on him to put that forward or whatever. But he takes his engineering, his artwork, too. You know, which makes him worthy of working with, like, times 10. Like, you can't work with a better engineer that's going to, as far as caring about what he's gonna do to your music, you know, as opposed to what you already have is your music. Yes, your music, but what he's gonna do with it is like art form in itself. He has his own way of doing things and his own way to approach it.
Right. And everything sounds so top notch. Everything sounds professional. Everything.
He's just getting better and better.
Yeah. And when he's on his song yelling and stuff, it always has a great energy. You know, I just like his energy.
If you say so, it must be true.
No, I do though.
Shout out to Ches. He's probably screaming. He's probably screaming in his house right now. Yeah, he's probably screaming his song in his house.
And you know, people that don't know Ches Rocker, when he says like he's the embodiment of hip hop, he really is one of those people. You know, like like when I haven't seen him in a while, and I saw him at Skank's release party for his new album, and man, he just had the energy like it was. I had just finished seeing him at a Rock the House show. You know what I mean? Like. To be continued. It's always the same intensity. You know what I mean? And man, like he must have some stories of you guys. I'm just putting that out there. But,
yeah, he got stories for sure.
Yeah, because he
got stories of Toshi too. He's the first. What's interesting about Ches is like Ches. I met him one night, like hanging out in the neighborhood. I think I was bringing somebody something, and then there was a bunch of guys out on the stoop. Just rapping, and that's rare, kind of like in Woodside that you didn't see ciphers like that. So I saw that and I was like, oh, these guys think they can rap. I was like, let me just go over there and hand them their ass. You know what I'm saying? So I just go, I just go to the stoop.
How dare they be in Woodside?
Nah, I was just doing that as like a joke, like, oh yeah, what you guys doing? Y'all trying to rap? Huh? And then I just went in and I thought I handed them their ass. He would not let me leave. He was like, rapping back at me, like trying to go at me. I'm like, okay. Long story short, we just made friends. Him, and Peeps. Peeps was an artist that used to record with him. He's like, yo, look, I got equipment in the crib. We make music all the time, man. You're more than welcome to come by one day because you nice and this and that. So there it was. But the people that he introduced me for, like down the road, I would see them at other events and other things. Like Toshi is one of them. So one time he's like, yo, Starvin, I do this show now, Classic Storm Radio. It's in Brooklyn. And I go there. And I see that's the first time I meet Toshi. He's like, sharing a crib. And I remember somebody did graffiti in his house. I think I told you this story. Like with a spray can. Like somebody started spray painting in the house. I'm like, yo, this shit is kind of crazy. This guy don't speak no English. Somebody's climbing out his window doing graffiti on his house. Like, you couldn't do that in my house. Like, I'd kill you. Like,
right.
It's like, you can't be bringing people here. He's like, and Chel's like, I didn't bring that dude here. He brought him here. I'm like,
yeah.
So it's just interesting. But then now I see Toshi, like, what that's like, 15 years later. Now it's been like 15 years that I know Toshi. From Ches, who I've known for like 20 plus years.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yo, man. And those two guys, Toshi and Ches, are like, they're hip hop, like
odd couple.
No, but they're like embodiments of hip hop. Like Toshi's home.
Well, they definitely are like symbols of how far hip hop can reach.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And of course, Toshi's English is far superior now. Yeah.
But it's crazy, like, where he starts and where he is now. That's how far hip hop can pull you. And like, same with Ches.
Oh, yeah.
Ches
definitely
started off as like someone who's aspiring to rap and who wants to, is looking at it from that angle. And now look how he's thrived as an engineer.
Right.
Like, you don't really know where that path will take you, but if you care about the music, it's going to take you somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? But how did you hook up with Stu Bangers and stuff, And he
Stu
does
Bangers,
so many
just
records.
internet. I just was minding my own business. He hit me up. Like, oh, man, I like your shit. Let's do some records. and that's it. And like, you know, that's why it didn't really that record did, you know, I didn't really do it the justice that I should have, you know, but I just didn't want to you know, take up so much of his time either, and I was kind of doing it on the fly. I was doing it all out of my pocket also too, like, so, you know, like at that time I was more focused on my other hustle and then driving and the chauffeuring. So I was so deep into that I didn't really have the time to, you know, really push it and shoot a million videos. All the videos that I shot with it were like after hours collaborations with Flush and Tech and Found Monday. I didn't do a solo video for it just because I didn't really like make the time to like have somebody shooting the person shooting the videos was a guy who has a media company that's friends with Tech. So we just had him shoot all the videos and we paid him the bread and we could pay him, and the results are the results. Like, honestly, by my standard, I wasn't loving those results of those videos, you know? And he knows that. The homie, shout out to Dave, he knows that. He's just like, you know, he's a one-man team. And, you know, so the Stu Bangers, as far as the songs, I love the songs. The beats were dope. There's concepts in there. They're all songs that I wrote in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, you know, maybe if I would have took some time with it, but I seen Stu Bangers at that time had an urgency also to get his music released and get it out. So it was just like, oh, dope, man, if we could do it, let's do it. Oh, dope, man, we could do it, let's do it. And I saw no harm in putting music out either and staying active. So it is what it is. Yeah, Stu Bangers seems to like the project. He doesn't talk to me much about it anymore. He's doing his own thing. I see everything he does. I like it. I love what he does with his son. That's beautiful.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
As long as his son loves to do it too, it just seems like he's good. He ain't, you know, sending signs for help. Please. I think he enjoys it too. So yeah, man. Shout out to him.
You know, and I think this is one of the records that helped push Stu Bangers out there. You know, where people that weren't listening to Stu Bangers and stuff.
I don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
Because there was a flood of Stu Bangers, and like this to me felt like one of them. You know what I mean? Before that, I was just noticing his instrumental albums. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know.
Well, that's cool if it did. I hope it did. I hope I was able to help him in any way. I felt very good about myself just on the strength that he would contact me,
right,
to have me do music like that, because you know, everybody's trying to get to the bag, you know. So it's like with an artist like him that's working that much, for him to respect me on the lyric tip and do it on let's just do a 50-50 split and not ask for no money and not be on some, because some of these producers, they be on some like, oh yeah, here's 20 beats, and you start writing them and they'll be like, all right, so yeah, how many you want to use for your project? Let me know, because this beat is that price. And I've had a couple producers do a move like that. And I'm like, yo, you know what? That's cool if you would have came from the beginning like that. For that, just send me your BeatStars page. You know, don't be sending me stuff like, oh yeah, start writing to it and then be like, all right, now that you wrote something to it, it's $500. That's like me sending you back a verse and being like, now that's $500.
Right.
You know, so, you know, he ain't do it like that. He ain't move like that at all. And, you know, he could. He's someone that's that good.
Right,
like this certain, you know, this producer's like, if your beats are a certain level, I'm going to automatically be like, yo, you got to worry about money. Think about money. Like, we should do split sheet or something like that. You don't just be throwing your beats out there and like, all right, yeah, so we'll talk about this later. You know, you're going to feel a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I had interviewed him and Mr. Lift for their album, and, you know, from everything I hear with everybody that works with Stu Bangers, though, he obviously is doing his business respectable, you know?
Yeah, it seems
because
that way to
everybody
me, for
loves
sure.
working with him. They love, you know, and it's fast turnaround and shit, you know what I mean? But, yeah, a great album. I loved it. But let's talk about After Hours, because After Hours is like I thought it was like the group name too, of you, Flushing Tech, and Found Monday.
Well,
like,
it was
like, right?
Yeah, it was, but it was more like a collective that was leaving room for people to be added on, or like a series.
Okay.
It was like a series that people were going to be added into. So like there was going to be a FT version, there was going to be a DJ I Kill version, Vargo produced version. And then everyone would also be a member, you know, but it would just be all under the same umbrella of After Hours.
Got you.
So this one with the album that you see that you speak of was like a mixtape leading up to that. It was all the music that was made in that period when that was all popping off, and the only people that were, you know, consistently there for those studio sessions with me, Foul Monday, and Tech.
Tell me about Foul Monday and Tech, because they don't get a lot of shine,
Yeah. Well,
and working with him all these years, especially Foul Monday.
Yeah, Foul is, everybody knows Foul's an incredible rapper. He's a great rapper.
Incredible voice, all time.
Yeah, he has a unique voice. I think it's just a matter of how he advertises himself, and then also the social media, just doing it maybe a little differently. Like there's little things that you should know in social media, like don't post at 4 a.m. type things. Like if you want to maximize how many eyes you got on you, you got to do it like in the morning at like 9 o'clock,
right, like
2:30, and then 5 o'clock is the latest post you want to do, really. So I think with Foul, he's just operating outside those parameters, and also bouncing around a little bit with his brand. But I've told him about that too. It's like, if he would invest in it and start to adhere to those parameters, he probably would, be the same as me.
Yeah, he really has. He's great, man. He's great, because I don't think that it'd be a glaring gap if hearing them so much on so many of your songs.
Yeah,
if they were like really whack, you know what I mean?
No, and they're not.
Foul
whack
Monday
at all.
has such a great voice. His inflections are so dope.
Not whack about it. No.
Flushing Tech has such a nice flow. Like it has no gaps.
Flushing Tech is just someone who is just. He is natural at making music. He's a natural, but he's not making music that much.
Right.
And the time that he feels like, all right, it's really time to make music is when I'm making music. And we've been trying to work on something for him as a solo. We got the name of it. We got a couple of joints already done for it.
Oh man.
And I'm trying to get him to do it. He's like, yeah, I know stuff. Let me know when the studio is. It's like I could do that. I can let you know when I do the studio, whatever. But as far as your solo, you got to do that for you too, So it's on him to get started. It's different whenever he wants.
Right. You kind of covered this in the questions we were talking about, like the minimalism, the minimalist philosophy that you always excel with. But on Sancocho, you had said, "Don't call me your artist. I'm not your anything. All I did was counteract the sadness that the Henny bring." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you say "don't call you an artist," though, was that just a line? Like, what did you mean by that?
Don't call me your artist. I'm not your anything. It's like when people say, "Oh, I got a guy for that." You know what I mean? Like, "Oh, I need these tiles done. I need this roof. To be fixed." "Oh, I got a guy for that." I'm not your guy for anything. Like, I'm not. I'm someone that can do the work that you can call to do it, but I'm not your artist. Right, what I'm saying? There's just some people, "Oh, yeah, I got an artist. My artist." No one could ever say that about me.
Right.
"Oh, well, that's my artist." No, I'm not. Definitely not. Shut the fuck up.
No, what's so fun to listen to your work, though, is because you always make such a deep point and then such a funny fucking joke after. You know what I mean? Like,
so I don't kill you. I don't want to kill nobody.
Yeah, you'll deprecate it. Like you'll deprecate it. You'll joke it. Like
no, I'm saying not kill you. I just don't want to be angry about it. Because if you make those points and you take it another direction and it's not humorous, you could be really angry about it. You could really go home and be thinking about it in a different way, and like, I'm gonna handle this a different way. But if you do it with humor, it kind of passes and it's on to the next joke. I live my whole life like that.
For yourself, as the artist recording
I live my entire life like that. Yeah.
Right. And by the way, speaking of the skill level, though, the Champion song is definitely proof that Foul Monday, they always...
He's got a lot.
Foul Monday does have
he got one called
album out on
"Do You Feel Lucky" too. That's a banger. Like, one of my favorite songs. He got one with Killer Shaw too. I forgot. I think it's Killer Shaw, and JoJo Pellegrino. One of my favorite songs ever. Yeah, you could YouTube that and have that up. It's fire. Like, he has a lot. He's an underrated artist. That's it, man. And it's just really about how much he puts into promoting it. I think Foul is he's a humble dude, and that's why I've been such great friends with him all these years, because he is humble. But like, sometimes you can't be that humble. You have to, put a whole entire day into, this day is all about me and promoting me. Like, you have to have a day like that.
This is great. Listen to it.
Yeah, or not so much just this is great. Like, all right, say you put some There's money that you would normally be spending like on like whatever, fast food or whatever, clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. Instead of spending that on that, you could be spending that on promoting yourself and being the key point of how I'm gonna spend this money is gonna showcase me. You know, and that's one thing that I've seen a lot of people around me have never done. They don't do that with their music. They don't say, I'm gonna invest my money into showcasing and get this sound in the way I need it to sound. That's not happening either.
In the time since your first albums and the albums where I started to really cover you and stuff, has the amount of spending, the amount of promotion that you do, has that fluctuated?
Yeah. Hell yeah! I didn't have no money at first, man. I had nothing. Like no, everything was out of kindness. Like I got lucky sometimes too, which also like I don't go into that realm. Also, I contacted somebody like about premiering the video, and I was a little bit late because I was gonna have some adjustments made on that last video, the Agent X video, right. And I had some like adjustments that I was making, so I didn't know when I was gonna drop it. Once I seen that I wasn't getting the adjustments made and it wasn't being done timely enough, I said, "Yo, I'm just gonna put this behind me and put this out." But I contacted somebody about doing promotion for it and like trying to promote it to the maximum, and they were like, "All right." I know I'm in trouble with these people because they want everything. They want you to know you're going to use them before you know you're going to use them. So, like, let's say I got a video coming out. I want to put it out next week. Okay. I should have already called them. You can't just call up these internet promoting companies and be like, I got a video coming out tomorrow. Here's some bread. They're not, you got to push it back. We're going to have to give it this kind of release and do this kind of package and this and that. So I was like, you know what? If I do that, it's going to be one of those things where I'm just stopping myself from checking the box. It's time for the video to get released. I've already been waiting so long for this adjustment that never came. So it's like, all right, I can't do that. So I chose to just not. And just email it to everyone I know, and hopefully they sent it out. And it had a great result, had a great debut, better than like my last 3 videos. So I did that without putting that money down this time to really promote it. But I know it's like, it costs probably like upwards of $300 to properly promote a video. And if you come with less than that, you're not properly promoting it. You're probably getting fake views and all that other garbage, you know? So you better off sometimes not doing that. Like, don't do any of that. It's not going to get you to the right place. So yeah, it's definitely going up. The money you got to spend to make an album, also to mix it and master it properly. Like, thankfully, I work with Ches, and Ches is always doing something for me, so he doesn't kill me. But I'm probably his best customer. You know what I'm saying? Like, Skanks too. Shout out to Skanks.
Right. Skanks did the last
mixing a lot of records.
Too, yeah.
He's also mixing a lot of records over there too. But yeah, so yeah, you got to spend money to do this. This is not a cheap game, and trust me, people can say whatever they want to say, but I don't think if they had the opportunity to do this, they would be doing it. There's a lot of people that rap. There's a lot of people, that I know that rap, but they don't put out records like this. And when you say to yourself, why not? That might be why not. Because you have to invest a certain amount of money to constantly be in the studio, constantly be mixing records and mastering them.
Right.
So, yeah.
Understood that. Last song we'll cover on this one. There's no way I could get around it, though. Starvin B, you've got the ability to always make these manifestos, you know what I mean? And you did it with It's Your Fault. I personally think it's another signature song in your catalog, one of the great songs in your catalog again.
Yeah, I love that song too. That's another song I wrote in the car.
And, the first verses are really just really putting into detail about Trump and stuff. But, he's out the fucking door, so I'm going to skip that. But I always have to Michael Eric Dyson some bars here. But that last verse where you said everything that's wrong in hip-hop, you were talking about it. Then you said, safe to say I don't love hip-hop the way I used to. Way too much fake and letting corporations use you. The streets don't choose who's who. The dudes in suits do. Pick a super ignorant fucker to give the loot to. Glorify the guns and the drugs and dress a Fruit Loop. Everyone's a killer in the booth. That ain't the truth, but the lies will just The lies will justify the boys and blue. Yeah, I'm just reading it fucked up because I can't starve and be. You know what I mean?
Nah, you're doing all right. Right
justify
there.
the boys in blue trying to shoot you, deceiving you, miseducation via the media. How can we believe what we read in encyclopedias? The mission is to change the definition of arithmetic so you can hire them to keep track of all of your businesses, pointing out the differences. You just want to be lit and shit. Kids could sing along to the song, but they barely literate. Same old chapter, talented broke rappers gave the culture away and they came and stole it off Napster. What about when your mistakes come to haunt you? The walls disappear and the music industry is gone too. They're gonna need me one day. Don't say I didn't warn you. I hope it isn't too late and I don't even want you. There's so much in that verse. I just had to say the whole thing because
dope verse.
I spend a lot of my life writing about what's wrong with it, what's good with it, and that verse pretty much says
quickly. Nah, you get lucky sometimes, man. It's like, I don't know, man.
It's just really a great verse. But I wanted you to explain this because I understand where it's coming from, but the listener might not because they don't see all this stuff. They just enjoy records, you know what I mean?
Well, one thing that's good about that verse is that's kind of in plain English. There's no slang in there that you can't decipher for yourself.
Right.
And I think that's honestly, I know that I love what I do, and I know it's from a unique place based on the experiences that it brings me. Because, like, I've had experiences that I could in no way, like, create on my own, just come to me. And there are experiences that are reserved for someone who is really into hip hop and really has, an inside look of what is really going on with it. But that's just plain English, man. It's just like you got to see that why people that rap about violence and crime and all kinds of negative vibrations succeed in this, when there's so many other routes you could go.
Right. And, when you were talking about, as an example, when you were talking about the beats and the way beat makers might swindle and, do shady things like that, that's kind of what you was meaning, like an example of, like, change the arithmetic of things, the definition of arithmetic.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
No, what I said with that line was actually really reserved for education. Like, how we grew up learning algebra. You know how we grew up learning basic math, like that fundamentals of adding, and I don't remember the term for it, but there's an associative property and there's another.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So now they teach addition in like tens, like everything.
Oh, right. Yes.
They try to mess these kids' heads up so they can't do their big books.
It's totally different.
That was what that line was about. That was what that line was about. That's no bullshit, though, man. People better wake up to that, man. It's QuickBooks is $29.95. TurboTax $10.95. We'll do all your business. We'll pick your passwords. Oh, everything can be done with this phone right here. Don't think about any math. It's pointless because you want to go through 10 plus 10. All right, what's 265 plus $48? All right, well, you add the 10s 200 times. You add it 20 times. Then you add get the fuck out of here. Right. Do everything in columns like we grew up doing it with the,
Right. Carry the ones. They don't
ones,
do that
the tens, the hundreds column. That's it. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Don't turn that shit into a paragraph now. Get out of here. That shit makes me mad thinking about it. That is real. That is real. That they want you. They want you in that world of all those columns and you need the calculator. Pick that calculator up. Don't do this manually. No. Don't remember your phone number. No. That's saved in the contact in your phone. As soon as that. Don't remember that phone number. What you need that for? You wasting time. You using your brain to retain information. You don't need that.
No, that's such a good point.
You have this thing with your phone and you see, go to a new site, right? You go to a new site, and now I notice with the newest iPhone, I do the iPhone thing too because I want a good camera. That's why,
Right.
But I see, but there's this new thing. Choose your password, or should we use the pass? You see that password they make for you with the dashes, and it's like 4, 8, 12, 16 letters. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. I don't have an iPhone.
You go. All right, I'm pretty sure they do it in Android too. But when you go to a new site, right, you want to go log in. Let's say you create a new Facebook page. Right.
They do suggested password.
Yeah, but it's like 16 things, and then it's like, well, use your own password. But like the automatic like setting is for them to create this 16 character combination that you'll never be able to remember without them. Or you could choose your own. Like you could use your fucking mind to choose this password to something that's valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? There's gotta be some real, that's really wrong, man.
I get that.
So you're gonna be your banking information. You want to use the Apple password just because it was quick.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I use it so like Chase Bank. All right, this is my family's livelihood. I'm using that Apple password. I trust that more than me. I'll forget mine. Because this motherfucker made me into this thing that I am now that I can't remember my own password.
That's a fact.
So we're androids already.
Right.
You already an android. You already have phone.
Yeah.
That phone is without that phone, you ain't even soon ass.
Actual.
You see what I'm saying? That's what that line's about. They changed the definition of arithmetic.
I get it.
I can't believe that shit.
I was relating it to the industry because I saw, like so much that they do, like the change it. The whole point system is an example. Like, how that changes. Like when people value records, point system is literally a record label's way of changing the arithmetic.
Oh yeah. And also the 100% is really 200%.
Right.
Yeah. Scumbag math. Yeah. It's called scumbag math. Drug dealers do it too. Big fucking deal. That's how much you thought it was, but this is what it really is.
Right.
Yeah.
Adjust this, But going into the next time, because there's so much work here, I just want to make some highlights of them. Forever Queens is probably your most distinct, most
all the credit for the sound of that goes to Discourse.
Right, yeah, Discourse. He really gave you some stuff that was really different, and I really enjoyed it because I liked hearing you on things that I didn't expect. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You can never downplay how somebody else is feeling when they're creating something with you. So I don't consider myself a super famous person, but what I definitely am is I'm someone who was born and bred in Queens, New York City. That's why I think the choice of title for that was more because to Discourse, that is special. Like Queens, New York overall is probably the most special place for him that he's ever visited. And he has his own interaction with it that's so special to him. Which causes him to create certain emotional sounding records. He probably was in places in Queens that's like, this shit looks dangerous, or this is like so industrial, the metal is so massive. Some parts of the video, I one day, I don't know if I was just really stoned and I was just really thinking like a stoner, but I was like, yo, parts of these surfaces in the video look like animals. like the wet, he's like, I got a really good shot when it was raining. And I was like, okay. And then I saw it, and I see what he means. Like the ground has this shine when it's raining that it kind of looks like a monster coming out the water. So it's like what makes that special to him. It transcended in the music. So all these like little events, like it's just weird stoner shit to me. Mm-hmm. But to him, it's probably like really emotional. It's like you're going halfway across the world for your love of music and doing
right.
Music.
Absolutely.
And you got this guy that you're working with, and he's really from the shit that you think is so mystical and crazy.
Yeah, and there were great combinations. I love hearing you with AG and Milano on the song.
That's all on him. I've never even met AG. Yeah,
peace to the God AG though. Yeah. I build a lot with the God. He's a great builder. But you had such great lines though. The insight in lines. Too eager to ride a wave, but too lazy to build a beat. You know what I mean?
To build a boat.
I wrote boat and there I said beat. Yeah. Build a boat. You know what I mean? Just insightful lines. It ain't simple playing limbo with my standards. Just cleverness. You know what I mean? Wash the table that your food is on. Like things like that resonate with me. I was just like,
who knows what I was thinking that day.
But there's so many ways to apply like some of the stuff that you were saying though. You know what I mean? And there was so many lines on this album. I loved it. You know what I mean?
Well, that also that at the time capsule of that album, I was doing a lot of haggling. I was doing a lot of like back and forth of what I thought I was owed in my industry. I was doing a lot of haggling. So I had a lot of little key one-liners ready to go that I was using on the day-to-day.
Right. Okay.
Too lazy to build a boat, and I think that was one of them.
You had like how you said role models get caught sniffing thoughts off my passport. That's just clever shit. If only people wanted justice as much as they want status. You ask them what they life about, they shrug and point to the drugs. No code of ethics. Where's the genuine love? I make this. Yeah. I gotta make this point about Starvin B to the listener when you listen to him.
I've done a lot of drugs.
Not that point. No, but one of the points when you listen to Starvin B, because with artists, I say all the time, when I interview an artist, though, when I do this show, I spend all week listening to that particular artist exclusively. You know what I mean? So I become Starvin B. I'm witty like Starvin B. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm clever with one-liners to my children. That was the shit this week. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know?
A lot of that stuff I do say to other people's kids. I do like, the creepy, the creepy dad's friend. I've been that guy for so long. That's like, you can't say it to them, but I can. So,
But, the thing is that in your music, there's such a great descriptive of the ethos of hip hop, you know what I mean? And it's totally different than like a guru, but I mean it like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's always in all the music, and it's really it's a inspiring thing, to say the least, you know what I mean?
Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And along with the clever lines, Shark Tank, and I'm pointing this out to the listeners, not really you, Starvin B, but the in and out of that deadpan flow that you do, it kind of makes the whole song sound like it's a chorus, and then it keeps going, and then it's not a chorus. So you never know where that rhythm ends and where it begins, and it makes the song really fun to listen to, not boring. Me and my producer were just talking off air about our hatred for albums that are all one tempo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful of that.
Yeah, and there's not just tempo.
Not pleasant. It's not pleasant to the listener.
Not just tempo to the beat, but tempo of the MC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's so many tempos you do, and now you also do a lot of voice fluctuations because your voice will get really deep, and then it'll get higher.
Sometimes.
And it's just
well.
Fun to
Now
listen.
I want to tell you something too. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but I stopped drinking. I have not had a drink since July 23rd, 2020.
Oh, that's incredible. That's great.
Yeah. But a lot of that vocal changing was due to drinking. I would be drunk and I'd have to use my voice in a different way, or I would wanna sound different.
Right.
I'd wanna. So yeah, so that might you might not be hearing that so much anymore.
Right. But then now that you're not, we might hear something else.
Yeah, exactly. I look forward to that. I think vocally, actually, I have more control now that I'm not drinking no more.
And I had this one thought, like on Stovetop, I would love to see a video for your
very drunk song. See,
right?
That song is very drunk.
Stovetop is such a fun song. It's got Milano, Foul Monday, Aguilar, but the reason I say I would love to see a video for that is because you said replace that chain in your neck with an out of order sign. I'd love to see a guy just wearing that shit.
I write all that shit
like a guy. I literally
listen, if I had the crazy jeweler budget, I would get an out of order sign just so people leave me alone. I would get a gold plated rope with an out of order sign, and people leave me alone. I'm off today.
Oh man, just great lines. You know what I mean? Your thesis is feces. I love hip hop. I do it precise. So they ask me what music I listen to, what type of shit that I like. I like the music that do more for human rights than zeitgeist. I'm quoting that from Pick Your Poison for a device that people don't always use. But the way that you rhyme a lot of times has such a conversational, direct person-to-person vibe. And it's because of things you do here. You see, like when you said, so they asked me what music I listen to. But then after that, you say, what type of shit that I like. You're basically repeating the same thing twice. So it has more of a conversational flow, like the way people talk.
Yeah. Well, that's basically, you're right. That's basically a section of the rhyme that's created like a freestyle. Where you hitting a point, it's kind of like you're hitting a point in your rhyme where you're searching for the second line. There's nowhere to really find one until you say one. So I remember that point exactly being how that was created. Right. Like you just hit a point in a rhyme, like you want to keep going, but you really don't know what you're gonna say next.
Right. So it becomes more.
So ask me what I listen to, what kind of shit I like. When it happens to rhyme, that stays that gets printed. You know what I'm saying? You print that.
Oh man, just dope devices that happen naturally. This is dopeness. It makes it such a living record. You know what I mean?
It's fun to talk to you about this because I don't do this a lot. Like nobody cares like that. They don't see it from that angle. Right. But it's cool to think about it and relive writing it and rethink about it.
When we go to 2020, it's fun for me too, to even do this. I have so much fun doing this. Melting Pot I love that album, but I was also that it was one of the albums where that's the only reason I get upset that there's such an overload of music, because I felt that record didn't get focused on too much. You know what I mean?
Agree.
And it was such a good record. You know what I mean?
I was in a limbo at that point of like, how should I do this? Like I was really adhering to what I realized now I shouldn't have been paying any attention to, is like checking those boxes, trying to make sure things were done a certain way, and it was just going to a point where like Melting Pot was never gonna come out. It was never gonna come out. It was the song. It was my most featured on project out of all the projects. Right. It's got the most features, right? So I thought that meant I had to include more promotion in a certain, and try to include videos and get all these people working at the same time. Then haphazardly, pandemic happens. So you can't shoot a bunch of videos with a bunch of different people that have to even travel from different places in the middle of the beginning of that COVID shit. So it's just like, all right, this is either gonna be put out right now and just winged and just done like that, and promoted on Instagram and whatever, you pay some playlist people or whatever, something like that, or it's not going to be put out at all. And videos too, is like no shot of the video. Yeah,
and it's got so many interesting features, like mixing Nems with Napoleon.
Yeah.
I love the mixes in that. You know what I mean? The concepts like with Rim and Foul, Little Fame, because he does the chorus too. He's doing just dope stuff.
Well, you know, that Melting Pot is literally a melting pot. It's all the songs that I did with other people that were about to not come out because they was supposed to be on something else, or you know, one of my projects that it wasn't mixed ready, it wasn't mixed yet, and then the one with Napoleon and Nems was a project for somebody else who just abandoned it, who just basically just said, you know, I guess I'm not doing this. And I love the beat, and I love what the beginning of the song was, and we already recorded our parts. It's like, I'm not gonna waste it. I'm gonna have to put this out in some capacity.
Yeah, just great stuff here. You know, Cheers. I'm not gonna quote the whole thing, but Cheers has. I literally quoted most of this song. I transcribed most of the song.
That's a good rhyme.
You know what I mean? But there's so much. There's also very few MCs that really could speak about like us, you know, regular working people that are striving, you know, because to me, sometimes
no one in the record label is going to tell you to talk about that.
Right. You know, and what's interesting is that when people talk about like Squares or like he's a hustler or things like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of times, like for me, I kind of end up being in the middle of that too, because I have I've had jobs. But then I have to be a freelance writer, editor to make ends and stuff. So you're trying to square up a hustle. So it's you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to...
You just don't bag drugs up. Yeah,
right. I get it. I'm literally squaring a hustle, trying to make that work, and the difficulties of that. But there's so many things that you say so good. Like when you said, you know, I don't know if you noticed, but like I'm part of the Leftovers group with Prince Power Rule and that whole collective of us, you know, anti-gentrification group. And I thought that some of the lines that you had on Cheers, like, this is my home every day. I wonder why I should stay in a country that's run like a company that wants to pay you, that wants you to pay, and always too busy to stop and acknowledge the people that help run it because all they want is your dollars. And I was like, wow, that's really, like, that's
that
really
was the essential word. The essential workers, things you say about the pandemic that's so negative. It's true. It's horrible. But one thing that was really good about it is the light that it put on essential workers and the people that like deliver your food. Now, it's also retarded that, you know, unemployed people got $600 extra, $300 extra, whatever, and essential workers made no extra money.
Right, good point, yeah.
If it's so essential, they should have got double whatever someone staying home was getting. Since y'all just printing money. But, but I like the light that it shines you in, you know, that it shines essential work. I've thought about that a lot of times where, you know, you see, like, it's pouring rain or even snow in a blizzard, and then you'll see like this 90-pound Chinese man on a scooter, like,
Facts,
you know, like I've thought about that too. Like, yo, this guy's like a superhero, man.
Right? Yeah, because you're like, yo, it's too fucked up outside. Let's
go.
But
yo, in the same breath, like you'll be quick to slap them. You know, like if they, let's say they ram into your car, like I'll slap your head off, like. But you don't think to yourself, this is the superhero bringing you food all the time. Like this pandemic thing is put that light on it. Like think twice about how you treat these people. Think twice about how you tip them.
Right.
You know, like so they get. I know my chips got more generous during the pandemic. I started getting some of that unemployment money from Uber. So it's like, all right, I order Chinese food. These guys get $10. You know, if they bring $30 worth of food, I would never tip Chinese $10.
Right.
Before pandemic. Never.
Right. You know, the whole album has that tone. It has those ideas, wasted education. You know what I mean? That whole idea. Rim had a great verse on that where he was talking about the hustle.
Oh, yeah.
And people getting degrees in this and that. And, you know, and I related to that, too. I have a marketing management degree, and I have a career in journalism. So
do you use it, though? You use it?
I've never had a job in marketing management. Never.
You don't use nothing you
Obviously,
learned from that?
I've used things I've learned in it because I've had to sell my own work. You know what I mean? But never in the field that they expected or that they taught me to do it in. You know
well,
what
it's
I mean?
disgusting if you think about how many dollars people owe in loans.
Yeah.
And do they use it? I know a lot of people, like, you know, college, they did it to study abroad and they did it to meet people.
Yeah.
I don't see what their courses have afforded them in their life.
Yeah, I mean, I say this a lot when I talk about my history. It only helped because when I went to Baruch College, they had a spread out campus, and it happened to be around Union Square to 26th Street.
Yeah.
So that happened to be where all the magazines were. And here I am. Hey, I want to be a writer.
Yeah.
Vibe was here. Source was there. So I ended up literally colliding. People saw what I was writing in the college paper because the fucking new magazines was right there.
That's dope. Yeah.
So it got lucky in that, but it was
I love that area of New York too. I like that area.
Yeah, I enjoyed going to school just for that. But yeah, that whole corruption of this idea of the targeted education, but no one lets you have a targeted career, you know?
I mean, even if you do, it's like it's just like everything else. It's just like sports. It's just like entertainment. Mm-hmm. The dream is there, but if you do the numbers, like how many people are really actually following the plan of that dream?
Right. Very true.
And
Very true.
then even if you study an industry. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say you study an industry like baseball. Like, there's not even a conventional way anymore that they're scouting players. There's not a conventional way that they're scouting management. It's just like people come from all different places. You know, you got Mark Cuban now. He's television when he used to be, you know, a basketball owner, and he used to be an oil guy. So a financial guy. They're doing everything. Right. It's like we're in the era of people being famous with being famous. And you gotta just take that and run with it. So, you know, if you could climb the Queensboro Bridge naked, you might be running the Knicks one day. You don't know. Right. You don't know. Right, as long as you're that famous, you don't know. So nobody knows.
It's such a good point. You know what I mean? And the album again filled with stuff. Petty Cash, I was talking, you know, about.
Yeah, I love Petty Cash.
The layered, the speed changes, like it. You know, there's so many changes, you know, with the tempo.
Shout out to Hellfire, too.
Yeah.
Hellfire's an incredible producer.
Yeah, that's a fun song. Another picture. There's so many great lines. Loose with the chickens I'm coming home to roost with. Truth is my shit is probably clean enough to douche with.
Yeah, that's just shameless advertising for my sexual activity. I was single at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
I would really try to rhyme panties off at that time, and that's all that is.
Oh, man. You know, my reputation currency, when you're this real, everybody feel naked. That was good stuff.
That's sexually advertising.
Clever lines, though. Take your rap a little further than a verse about murder. It's the dirt under the nails, not the purchase or the sales. What did you mean by that? It's the dirt under your nails. Like, I could think about what I think it means, but.
All right, so like, I'll put it to you like this. If you sell 10 records one day, the next day, selling 10 records is not going to be enough. So you're going to need to sell at least 20. And so on and so forth. Once you hit these certain numbers, so the dirt under your nails is more than the purchases and the sales, because whatever you did that day to get your 10 sales can make it that much better. If somebody, let's say you meet somebody that you've always idolized and he is one of your 10 sales. That's the dirt under the nails. Like the story of that is more important than selling 10. Like you sold 10, but it's more important who was one of the 10.
Got you. This is a good line. You know what I mean? And just this for the listener, really, songs when I try to point out like the vocal instrument, the MC is a vocal instrument. I think about narrator. You know what I mean? Like when you say stuff like investigate and where to invest the bubble. invest to bubble the weight. Now I relate to rummaging crates for the best break. Like, it's really perfectly layered, you know what I mean? And it's like, you can see that ball bouncing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just great stuff. If you don't like that, you don't like ice cream, you don't like this stuff, you know what I mean? You like something else, you know what I mean? And it's okay, but you don't like hip hop, you know? But
you like drumless beats.
yeah.
You like being chased through a cemetery by a Russian horror movie figure. I don't know what people like, man. If I knew what people like, I'd probably be doing a lot better with this shit.
And then you did the album Code of Ethics, with which I always say this wrong. I don't know why I write it so phonetically differently. DJ and Nudie.
And Nudie!
Yeah.
So shout out to DJ
NYT, yeah.
And UT.
Yeah. No, I always say it wrong like that.
It's just spelling nut.
Yeah.
I know he's just spelling nut. And he did it a creative way.
Yeah.
It's like same as Eminem, but he spells nut and UT.
Yeah, NUT, yeah.
Shout out to him for that. That was cool.
I always read it phonetically though. That's why
that was another pandemic jam.
Yeah. But all the records he puts out sound dope. Yeah.
Ches recorded it, does some mixing on it, but then he had another separate guy mix it and master it, and he did a good job as far as sonically, for sure. The only issue I have is that video, man. He had me come out of quarantine to do that video, and these dudes are like, "Yo, let's shoot him from every angle where he looks sick. Like, let's make him look like he has COVID." I could have shot that video drunk better than that shit. You know, I don't know who did it, but I don't want to meet those guys again. They sucked.
Oh man,
he sucked straight up.
Oh shit. A lot of great lines here.
Sucks.
Cleverness, just dopeness. I toss crackheads off of benches like CrossFit tires.
I really do though. I've really done that. Like that's shit I've really done.
Yeah,
I've seen these guys. I've seen these guys. I've seen these guys like, you know, flipping a CrossFit tire, and I was like, I did that shit with a human body before. It's like, yo, it's not that impressive. Do it with a human that's trying to make you not do it, you know?
Oh, man. Great lines. Razor Riddick is one of my favorite verses.
I like that, too. I like that.
You know, like, there was these thoughts about where people are keeping everything in. They don't have a way to express themselves. You know what I mean? Keep it, you said, be ashamed of the pain. We keep it bottled up, can't waste it. Because the self-hatred makes us forever anxious. When we protest peacefully, nothing ever changes. How do you get the attention you ever exist when you're not a terrorist or a white supremacist? That's great stuff there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just,
that's everybody's problem.
Right. It does. It becomes everybody's problem. You know what I mean? And also the society they were in, that, you know, it's almost, the devilishment is what gets hyped up, you know what I mean, and what gets lauded, you know. But you know, you were speaking about some verses that kind of freestyle. Was that the case with Loose Cannon?
Oh, Loose Cannon, yeah.
Because I wrote here, I said starts as a freestyle riff, you know. It has,
Loose Cannon is a freestyle almost completely until it gets to the part where here's a little something for you glorified boosters. That was
it kind of speeds up then.
That's the first line of a rhyme that I had written for a long time and just had. But everything until that is freestyle.
Why do it like that? Why was...
Well, because I was honestly just liking the beat. I was feeling nice, and I went in the booth, and there's sometimes that I could just be so relaxed that I start everything kind of like a freestyle. There's so many songs like that.
Right,
and you'll notice it's on a slower tempo song.
Right.
So it's like more relaxed. There's no rush, and I'm kind of figuring out what to do with the beat. So it happens in a place where there's times when people send me a beat, and that's when I start the creation process of writing a song. There's other times where it's like, I like this beat so much, there's gonna be a song right now when I go in there. Like, it's gotta be a song.
Right.
So I'll either use rhymes that I already have, or whatever the beat naturally will bring out. It's kind of like the same as if you go on a radio station and be like, you got a rhyme now? Let's go. And here's the beat. You got to just go.
Right.
You know, so sometimes it's freestyle in the beginning, sometimes it's old written, whatever.
So, more great songs. Won't Be Done Discussion was a great one too. A lot of lines I wrote down there. But let's get to Get Well Soon, the album that's out now, the album that you were wearing on your T-shirt.
Yeah.
Great album. The first time
Get
I
Well
heard
Soon.
that this
Get
album
Well
was
Soon.
coming out, Get Well Soon, you had said, listen, I did some beats on this. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, okay. Underproduced by Starvin, Pow Bang, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can't figure that was him also, you know what I mean? You
I
know?
just be playing with this shit, man.
You know? But I had some thoughts on the way that these 3 beats that you put in there, you know what I mean? First off, I love the way that they sonically sound, though. And I felt like the thing that I love most about the beats that you made was the 2 things. The first thing was, I love the bass lines, and I love that you make the bass line what I like to call a living bass line. The bass line was doing stuff. It just wasn't there being repeated.
No.
It was grumbling
No.
throughout. It was very dominant.
I mean, that's just how I listen to beats.
Right. It was very dominant, and I liked it because 2 of the songs.
I feel like of all the beats, sorry to stop you, but I feel like out of all the strengths of the beats, I feel like to me I could have did better with the bass lines sonically, like as far as cleaning them the right way and putting different filters and different plugins on them. That's the only beef I had with them themselves. But I like the importance on bass lines with me is gonna always be there.
That's what I love too, because they really rumbled through, and I just like the arrangements that you had with them. The what was it? 2 of the songs, P's and Q's, Exit Scene, I've heard those samples before, and I like the flips that you gave them, especially Exit Scene, because that's one that most people wouldn't touch, that sample.
Well, the reason why I did that is because in the beginning of the pandemic, I had to move. I was kicked out of my apartment building for smoking weed. They finally had it, so I had to relocate in like a quick manner. So me and my girl moved in together for the first time also. So we had a new living situation, and they kind of just threw us in this building real quick. And it was on top of a bodega. And the bodega would have like 3 different kinds of music coming out of it. There'd be like real Mexican music, then dancehall, and then rap.
Yeah,
So one shit that I was hearing come through the wall like all day was Who Shot Ya? And at first I'm just like, yo, this is so typical, so you can't even get mad, but it's funny. But then I was like, yo, you know what would be dope? What if you do a song of like how it would sound if Who Shot You is coming through the wall and then another beat is going? So that's how that beat got made.
Yeah, that was my favorite one that you did.
That's cool.
It really was dope. You know what I mean? The first one though, it led me to think like, to the question, the obvious question, why are you making beats? You know what I mean? 'Cause most people tell me they're making beats because I'm tired of dealing with other people.
No, that's not
shit,
why.
You know?
That's not why. It's just like it's kind of more of like the other side of the spectrum. Like, yo, what is wrong with you? Why are you not making beats? Because I've had so much access to all things hip hop, and I just like underplay it. You know, like, because I'm a good rapper, like, oh, you rap good. Like, don't be a jack of all trades, be a master of it. You know, like that type of mindset. But meanwhile, I'm having so much fucking fun making beats.
I mean, because just like the amount of great artists that you've been around, you've probably just seen beat making go on. You know?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that, but also like in the beginning of like my journey with music, when I was in like 7th grade, 8th grade, I was always with this kid who had equipment. You know, he had music equipment, and he had a thing called a 4-track. You know what a 4-track is?
Yeah.
So he had a 4-track, and I already knew how to use. Like, I immediately picked up how to use it. I couldn't scratch, but I could use the sample in the 4-track like as good as he could. So it was just something like, all right, damn, what you made is dope. All right, see you tomorrow. Like, it wasn't like rapping where I had this urge to constantly go home and do it, and also like affording the space and the equipment. I just didn't have those those luxuries.
So this was destined to happen.
Yeah, I've always made beats. I've always one thing I hate is the fact that I threw out so much of my tapes when I was like a teenager before it was a professional thing.
Right. Did it become a choice to like say I could do all the beats by myself, or I want to use these other guys' beats?
Oh no, I never really. I don't want to put that. I don't want to put that out there. Like, I'm gonna make my own beats only from now on. Nah, absolutely not. I'm gonna do whatever music comes out the best that I can. You know.
So it's right.
I'm not gonna fuck up the flow. Like, oh, I gotta make some beats now.
Right. Great on the Wiz. That was the first one that you did, and the first song. This line is crazy. Suckers don't trap wait. They wait for their rap mothers to lactate and sleep on a crack plate.
Damn.
What the fuck? I rewound that a couple of times. I was like, that was vicious right there.
What did you get from it? And I'll tell you what I meant by it.
Nah, I got.
It's really simple. It's really a simple concept.
The idea of biting, the idea.
No. It's about, there's a lot of people out there on the street level that act like they're hustling when they really are not hustling. What they are is they're doing drugs. They're doing a shitload of drugs. And the money that they get is mainly because they're on some kind of social assistance, like from having kids and then being on welfare. So they don't trap wait. They wait for they baby mother, the rap mother, to have kids so that they can collect off the kids, and then they sniff more coke and smoke more crack. Yeah.
No, I see it. Yeah.
That's what that line is. It's a very dark line, very fucked up line. It's real.
Yo, it's the most clever way to say that shit. You know what I mean? How fast we forget, right? When I first heard the song, I thought it was about a particular individual. You know what I mean?
It is.
And I don't.
But it could be repeated. The person can, that same exact character could be repeated.
Right. Then I felt that too. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'll sneak it. I never do that. I don't do that. I don't do the rap beef. So tell me who you had beef with.
Well, it's not beef.
I don't do that.
It's not beef. It's more cautionary tale.
Right.
Yeah.
But the intensity by which you rhymed was so. It was like.
It's just annoying, man.
Yeah.
It's annoying to hear about, like, yo, a record that you could do in 2021 will not get you as much press as you making a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
If you make a fool of yourself, that will get you the most burn. And you know what? I'll never be that guy. And you shouldn't even set the example that being that guy is okay if you're gonna associate yourself with hip hop.
Yeah.
Like there was a time where people got their ass beat for acting, so entitled. Like you get your ass beat just for being entitled. So if you fucking basing your whole artistry on being entitled, what do you deserve?
Indeed.
So of course it's gonna be intense.
Yeah.
And somebody's anger with you is gonna be intense.
Right.
Yes.
And and I love that it was the only one take track. You know what I mean?
No, he got two on there.
Yeah.
He got
Really?
Hall of Science also.
Oh, Hall of Science. That's right. Because
yeah.
I didn't. That's right.
Yeah.
That was the one I didn't have written down here. Yeah.
Shout out to One Take.
But I love One Take. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like, certain songs, even the It's Your Fault joint, it's like, it's not having beef with a certain person that you're writing about. That the commentary happens to be scathing because you're doing scathing shit. And it just brought something out of it. Sometimes I want to dial it back, and I don't want to release records like that because the vibration is low. You're screaming in the woods at a tree. You know what I'm saying? They're not listening to what you gotta say.
Yeah.
So it's a little silly in that sense. But then once again, you gotta say, oh. So I'm gonna dial it back and not give this to the world because I shouldn't, because it doesn't check those boxes.
No, I definitely see that. Yeah. So many great lines. Tell me about Just Like You, because it feels like it's gonna be one of those, like, I used to love her, but it's not. You know what I mean? It's also like,
it's just my own spin on it.
Right. Yeah.
It's definitely a new spin, and it's like. It's a song that when I started writing the song, I didn't know if it was going to be my story for real or a story that's like a metaphor.
Right.
So it's kind of a mix. Both stories are a mix of, like, it's metaphorical, but it's also my story.
Right. That's what I got out of it, though. It kind of blends so much. It muffles that you can't say what it is either.
Yeah. Because it's not something that you could blatantly talk about anyway, with stuff like that, because then you're giving someone too much credit, for what they put you through.
I get it. Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely get that. And then, Get Off My Dwick, just the title alone is dope. But another example of the great trio you three are. You know what I mean? Foul Monday, Flushing Tech, all the songs work.
Those songs that we make are just completely organic. We hear a beat for the first time. They say, what you got for this? What you got for this? What you got for this? We wanted to do a mixtape where we remade the songs with great threes in it. like the great 3 rapper songs. So one was Dwick, one was Fuji's. There was a couple of them, but the Dwick one, I was like, yeah, I did that. Did you guys do that? Nah, we didn't do that. I was like, well, I'm using it on this one. So that's why that song came to pass.
Oh, so that's a dope theme to do that.
Yeah, I still like to do it.
Yeah, that would definitely work with y'all 3. You know what I mean? And it would force Flushing Tech to be on a whole album. Yeah.
Flushing Tech is nasty, man. He's gonna come to the set. I hope he does, man.
Had to do tricks like that, you know. Or have him record songs that he wants and tell him it's your album, and then when it's done, he said, "No, this is actually yours."
I've already tried that. I've tried that with this one.
Right.
He started coming up with his own joints of what he's gonna do here and there and what he's got to put out. So I think he's got like 3 or 4 already. So I was like, if you can get to 8, 10, like shoot for 10, and we land on 7, you could do it.
Well, for me, to talk about Get Well Soon as a totality, I would need more time to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like I do with most albums, but because the Starvin B catalog, I love all of these records. You know what I mean? But when you came in off air and we were meeting up off air, you actually said this was your favorite album. Like the
it is. I'll tell you why. Because first off, it really is, aside from the Just Like You, aside from the Hellfire one, the one about, the story of a girl that reminds you of somebody, that is just, that's kind of, it's not filler, it just goes with the vibe of a good album, and it's good to have people rapping about women again. I think that's great. So but everything else is kind of a chronological story of the pandemic, what was going on. And, the first song is about walking away from what you used to do, which is how I said I didn't drink for a year now. It's been like,
right.
So it was also walking away from, your addiction. It's like, haha, look what I could do. Like, I could stop doing this shit, and all I got to do is stop fucking with the people that are, like, letting their rap mothers lactate and sleeping on crack plates. And so so that's that. Then Agent X is dealing with this news that's on the thing every day, and the drama is just basically like up in the drama of like, I don't agree with your view of what's going on. We should all wear masks. Oh, it should be our choice. All right, so if this conversation is going to continue, this is how violent is going to get. Agent X, that's what Agent X is.
Right.
So on. So each song, has that whole carry on. So in Crowd, if you listen to it in that order and take it from that, it probably would need me to explain it from my level. But when I listen to it, I understand it. I relive going through it. So now it's become my favorite project. I can't do that with any of my other projects. Some are just songs. Some of me's trying to showcase me. This one really is a story that I see like play out in front of my face, and sonically it sounds dope. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, and it has your own beats though, which I
that
thought,
too. That's also made it that much better too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But another great album in the catalog. It's one of the best of the year. I think anything with you rapping on should be bought immediately. Get Well Soon. It's not on a Bandcamp. Is it going to be on?
Nah, not Bandcamp.
How are you releasing?
Not Bandcamp. You could get it through me through the DM. We're gonna have some CDs come out. I might press it up myself on vinyl, depending on the receipt of it, like how it's received.
Right, so
if I can get 2 more videos done for it in a timely manner, it's gonna come out on vinyl. So we'll know by September whether or not I'll press it on vinyl.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna keep pushing it as far as video wise. I want to shoot a couple more videos for it at least. But
so to get the digital copies and the CD copies,
you could come to me. Yeah, you just got to DM me on Instagram.
Starvin Pal Bang. Go to Instagram.
Starvin B at Gmail, whatever. Find me. You can find me.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? He's also on Twitter as well. So.
I've had a lot of people support so far too with the pre-ordering of the CDs or even just for the digital.
And
copy.
the art is great. You know what I mean? The art is
fantastic,
great.
man. Shout out to LDC TB. He's a street artist in Ireland. Yeah, and he sent me this. Originally, I don't want to give it all away about how it was made, but it wasn't just like, all right, here's a CD cover and it's done. No, there was a lot of changes and tweaks to make it the right representation of what it is.
No, got you. But another great work, Starvin B. It's always a pleasure to have you. You know what I mean?
It's
On
my
the
pleasure
show.
too. Thank you,
It's
man.
always so great to build with you. It's inspiring. You know what I mean? The skill level, the detail. You know what I mean? It's just fun to listen to. You know what I mean? Because you get so tired of so many other artists and stuff like that, and it's 100%. I consider you an essential MC of this era. That means that you rank all time. That means that you rank with anyone's catalog I've ever heard. And it's necessary to get, though. And it's wonderful that you're starting off this decade with great music as well. You know what I mean?
I'm lucky, getting lucky.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, until the next time, there'll be a lot more stories to tell, writings to rewrite, to recite, writings to recite, and records to rewind and reminisce. From my MC's guest, the Essential MC Starvin B, I'm your host, Sunni Azala, a.k.a. Skilla Straight Low, and as always, the Power Right Show is a never respect fake broadcast. Peace.